All right, so thank you to everyone who took time out of their day to be present with me in this moment. My dissertation was on counselor educators' acceptance of immersive and interactive virtual reality as a pedagogical tool. The purpose of this presentation today is to share with you the results and findings of my study. During this defense, I will review the study's background, the problem and purpose, demographics of the participants, results, findings, limitations, and recommendations for future research. Lastly, I will open the floor to any questions or comments from my committee members. Now, before we get started, it's first important to establish a clear definition of immersive and interactive virtual reality. Many definitions of virtual reality exist, but for the purposes of this study, IIVR is defined as a computer-generated representation of a three-dimensional environment where individuals can authentically or tangibly engage utilizing specific digital devices, including headgear with built-in screens and gloves equipped with sensors. As we all know, technology is constantly evolving and changing. The counseling profession is no stranger to change, as it too faces evolving demands and challenges consistently. As an avid fan of both technology and counseling, I've often sought ways to blend my two passions together. Through significant research about technology use in counselor education, I arrived at the conclusion that cutting-edge technology like virtual reality has not yet successfully been integrated into counselor education. After noticing this gap, I began to research technology use in programs in similar disciplines. In doing this, I found other fields have successfully integrated VR or AR applications, and as such have been able to support student learning and provide direct practice and application of skills, all from within the virtual space. So, according to a meta-analysis conducted by Steele and colleagues in 2020, virtual reality has been represented in various disciplines as seen here. Let's look closely at two related disciplines and learn more about how they have implemented VR into their programs. First, psychology. At the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, a classroom lab integrates VR applications, allowing future mental health practitioners to conduct telebehavioral counseling with reactive avatars. Due to its success, they're expanding specialized courses and establishing programs for ongoing skill and development in psychology. In the discipline of social work, they found that integrating virtual reality can save resources, act as a screening tool, encourage risk-taking with minimal harm, and create challenging learning scenarios. Tailored VR experiences address each student's unique learning style and pace, standardizing practice learning experiences. So, according to this literature, it seems like the impact of IIVR on counselor education could enhance students' counseling and diagnostic skills, enhance empathy, promote cultural competency or humility, increase self-efficacy, and it impacts students' mood, motivation, and engagement. So, taken from what we've seen in other fields, integrating IIVR can revolutionize how counselors and trainings develop skills, understand clinical competencies, and practice ethically and effectively in real-world scenarios. Yet it's not yet been integrated into our field, into our counseling programs. This finding led me to question, why was it not yet accepted? It set me on a course to discover any barriers that may exist that prevented this integration. I feel this study and the results that I'm about to share was vital, as it can transform counselor education by bridging the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical application. So, despite the increasing dependence on technology, there is a lack of integration of IIVR in counselor education. This raises concerns about adequately preparing counseling students for the dynamic demands of the profession. The purpose of my study was to investigate the factors that influence the acceptance of IIVR among counselor educators. To complete this research, I used a quantitative cross-sectional correlational research design, multiple moderation analyses, to identify the factors influencing the acceptance of interactive and immersive virtual reality among higher education professors in counseling education. Data was collected using a Qualtrics online survey that was sent to counselor educators currently teaching at K-CREP accredited programs across the United States. Participants were counselor educators. They were recruited through CESNet listserv, direct emails to leaders in the field, and through snowball sampling. This approach allowed for data collection from 134 participants. So here's a copy of the survey. The survey consisted of 29 questions, first starting with participants' demographics, teaching experience, and their technology use. It then asked questions specific to 4 areas proven to impact technology acceptance. We'll dive into these areas more in the upcoming slides, but first let's review the results of the demographic questions. So of the 134 participants, 69.9% of them were female and 30.1% were male. These results are representative of the current gender distribution of counselor educators. The average age of participants in this study was 49 years old, with participants' ages ranging from 28 years old to 79 years old. And then lastly, the teaching experience for participants was nicely distributed, representing teaching experience evenly. Next, the survey transitioned to questions about respondents' current use of technology, concluding with a direct question about their use of virtual reality as a pedagogical or teaching tool. The results showed that the use of virtual reality as a teaching tool was rare. 82.9% of participants, or 113, indicated they had never used VR for teaching. Next, the survey transitioned to questions based on the theoretical framework of the study. Given my research focus was on technology, the most appropriate theoretical framework was the Unified Theory of Acceptance and Use of Technology by Venkatesh and colleagues, was developed in 2003. Their research identifies 3 direct determinants of user acceptance: performance expectancy, effort expectancy, and social influence. Using these 3 determinants provided insight into participants' behavioral intention to adopt the studied technology. I will now present the research questions and the results that align with each question, following the order of these 3 determinants. So the first set of research questions aim to explore the relationship between performance expectancy and behavioral intention. Performance expectancy refers to the degree to which an individual believes that using the system will help them do better at their job. So research question number 1 asked, what is the relationship between performance expectancy and counselor educators' behavioral intention to use IIVR as a pedagogical tool in counselor education? A Pearson's correlational analysis uncovered a statistically significant correlation between performance expectancy and behavioral intention, with a correlation coefficient of 0.56 and a p-value less than 0.001. This suggests that around 31.4% of the variance in behavioral intention can be attributed to performance expectancy. Next, the analysis of variance displayed a significant regression model with an F statistic of 61.4 and a p-value less than 0.001. This indicates that for each unit increase in performance expectancy, behavioral intention increases by 0.69 units. So these findings indicate that enhancing the individual's performance expectancy, or their belief that the system is going to help them do their job, can increase their inclination to use virtual reality as a pedagogical tool. Research question number 2 aimed to investigate whether age moderates or changes or impacts the relationship between performance expectancy and counselor educators' behavioral intention to use IIVR as a pedagogical tool in counselor education. The findings revealed that the regression coefficient for age was not significant, indicating that for every unit increase in age, there was a negligible change of negative 0.02 in performance expectancy, suggesting no moderating effect of age on the relationship between performance expectancy and behavioral intention. Research question 3 aimed to explore whether gender moderates the relationship between performance expectancy and behavioral intention to use IIVR. The analysis showed that the regression coefficient for gender was not significant, indicating that for every unit increase in gender, there was a slight change of 0.08 in performance expectancy, suggesting no moderating effect of gender on the relationship between performance expectancy and behavioral intention. Next, the study sought to understand the relationship between effort expectancy and behavioral intention. So effort expectancy is the degree of ease associated with using the system. Research question number 4 asked, what is the relationship between effort expectancy and counselor educators' behavioral intention to use IIVR? A Pearson correlation analysis revealed a significant positive relationship between effort expectancy and behavioral intention, with a correlation coefficient of 0.40 and a p-value less than 0.001. This implies that approximately 39.6% of the variance in behavioral intention can be accounted for by effort expectancy. Additionally, an ANOVA unveiled a significant regression model showing an F statistic of 24.89 and a p-value less than 0.001. This suggests that for every unit increase in effort expectancy, behavioral intention also increases 0.54 units. Research question 5 and 6, again, are going to look at the moderation from age and gender. So question 5 aimed to examine age and if it moderates the relationship between effort expectancy and behavioral intention to use IIVR. The results indicated that the regression coefficient for age was not significant. This suggests that for every unit increase in age, there was a negligible change of negative 0.01 in effort expectancy, indicating no moderating effect of age on the relationship between effort expectancy and behavioral intention. Research question 6 looked at whether gender moderates that relationship. The analysis revealed that the regression coefficient for gender was not significant. This indicates that for every unit increase in gender, there was a minor change of negative 0.05 in effort expectancy, again suggesting no moderating effect of gender on this relationship. Next, the study sought to understand the relationship between social influence and behavioral intention. So social influence is defined as the degree to which an individual perceives that important others believe he or she should use the system. Research question 7 aimed to ascertain the relationship between social influence and counselor educators' behavioral intention to use IIVR as a pedagogical tool in counselor education. A Pearson correlation analysis unveiled a statistically significant positive correlation between social influence and behavioral intention, with a correlation coefficient of 0.56 and a p-value less than 0.001. This indicates that approximately 30.3% of the variance in behavioral intention can be explained by social influence. Furthermore, an ANOVA demonstrated a significant regression model with an F statistic of 58.25 and a p-value less than 0.001. This suggests that for every unit increase in social influence, behavioral intention also increases by 0.75 units. Research question 8 and 9 are looking at age and gender. So research question 8 aimed to examine whether age moderates the relationship between social influence and behavioral intention to use IIVR as a pedagogical tool in counselor education. The findings indicated that the regression coefficient for age was not significant. This suggests that for every unit increase in age, there's a negligible change of negative 0.01 in social influence, indicating no moderating effect of age. Research question 9 investigated whether gender moderates the relationship between social influence and behavioral intention to use IIVR as a pedagogical tool in counselor education. The analysis revealed that the regression coefficient for gender was not significant. Surprise. This indicates that for every unit increase in gender, there was a slight change of 0.34 in social influence, suggesting no moderating effect of gender on the relationship between social influence and behavioral intention. So, out of the 9 hypotheses investigated in the study, 3 were accepted, indicating that the proposed relationships between predictor variables and behavioral intention to use IIVR were supported. 6 hypotheses were rejected, particularly those related to the influence of age and gender. These findings suggest that age and gender did not significantly impact the relationships between predictor variables and behavioral intention to use IIVR. So, The purpose of the study was to identify factors that influence the acceptance of IIVR amongst counselor educators. Once again, we'll look at each predictor variable to review what was found from each, followed by the review of the findings from moderators' age and gender. So, analysis of the survey responses to the 5 questions of performance expectancy did identify key determinants driving IIVR adoption. So, perceived benefits in enhancing teaching effectiveness, encouraging student interaction and participation, and increasing productivity for counselor educators. Responses on effort expectancy reveal that while counselor educators are confident in their ability to learn and master the IIVR system, there's still hesitation in its adoption. To ensure successful integration, it's crucial that the software is quick to learn and easy to integrate into their teaching practices. The social influence subscale findings suggest a lack of awareness of virtual reality technology, with 113 respondents reporting no prior use of it as a pedagogical tool. Despite this, the results highlight a need and desire for organizational support and the ability to receive influence within a supportive environment. Lastly, the findings from the behavioral intention. 74.2% of participants indicated that they would not use IIVR within the next 12 months. This highlights a significant reluctance among counselor educators to adopt this new technology, likely due to its novelty and unfamiliarity. And then to recap, we examined the relationships between the predictor variables and checked for moderation by age and gender, and no significant changes were found, emphasizing a universal inclination to adopt IIVR technology across all ages and genders in the counselor education population. Okay, let's talk about the implications of the study. This is the big deal. What does all of what I said before mean? Here's the implications. So an implication is a logical conclusion drawn from the findings of the study. For this study, there was 3 areas of implications: theoretical, practical, and technological. Theoretical implications are going to discuss how this study adds to the existing UTaught theory. So this study informed the refinement and adaptation of technology adoption theories, ensuring they remain relevant and applicable across diverse higher education settings. It enhanced the integration of technology within counselor education, confirming all 3 predictor factors do influence the acceptance of IIVR. And it extended the literature on technology use within counselor education as measured by the survey. Next, we move on to practical implications. A practical implication is the reality that would occur if certain conditions are fulfilled based off the study's findings. So, counselor educators balance demands, time, and career achievement. They prefer an active, engaged classroom, and they often tie that to their teaching performance. So, tools like IIVR must enhance their functionality and career performance while minimizing the time and effort to learn and integrate. Counselor educators are confident in learning the system, but prefer ease of use. Successful integration requires significant training to understand its capabilities and benefits. Developing a user-friendly interface, comprehensive training manual, and providing ongoing technical support can reduce the hesitancy, enhance user experience, and increase the IIVR adoption. And then lastly, to ensure a successful transition to IIVR, active organizational and managerial support is essential during a controlled integration. This includes providing VR headsets and paid practice time to increase faculty comfort before classroom use. A gradual integration process with volunteers or tech-savvy educators forming a peer support network is recommended. Reassuring hesitant educators that they won't be forced to adopt the technology abruptly and allowing an adequate evaluation time is also crucial. Technology implications. So the technological implications section was created to assist in informing the development of future software according to the results of the study. Now, IIVR offers a unique opportunity to enhance counselor education. Aligned with the K-CRIP requirements, it can transform the curriculum by incorporating IIVR into introductory counseling skill courses. This would reinvent traditional role-playing exercises, enabling professors to simulate diverse counseling scenarios that students might not otherwise experience. To be adopted into practice, this pedagogical tool must enable students to enhance their skills across all areas of counselor preparation while appealing to counselor educators' desire to improve teaching effectiveness and efficiency. And developing specialized software for IAVR should reduce counselor educators' workload by supplementing their standard lessons. It should prepare students with concepts at varying difficulty levels and provide ongoing support, reducing dependence that's currently on the professors. Additionally, an assessment and grading component, including computer-generated grading and immediate feedback, would further support educators and save time. So this study offered significant contributions, in my opinion, but faced several limitations that may impact reproducibility. The first limitation of this study was the lack of prior research on IIVR in counselor education. Research parameters had to be extended to other higher education programs and IIVR use in mental health counseling, making it a little challenging to develop a comprehensive theoretical foundation. Another limitation was potential sample bias. Due to a slow initial response, an IRB modification allowed survey distribution through Liberty University professors, resulting in a notable increase in responses from what I could presume Liberty University professors. While responses were anonymous, this may not reflect the general population of counselor educators. So future research should allocate more time and resources to secure responses from various universities and try and find maybe some better representation. And then lastly, the novelty of immersive and interactive virtual reality posed additional limitations. Participants received only a brief definition of IIVR and could not experience it firsthand. This limitation became apparent in survey responses, which may not accurately reflect participants' understanding of the technology. The unfamiliarity might have led to neutral responses marked as neither agree or disagree. It's unclear if this neutrality was due to a lack of knowledge, confidence in anonymity, or interest in the study. The absence of direct interaction with IIVR likely influenced participants to undervalue its potential benefits and usability in counselor education. So, future studies should expand this research by integrating IIVR into counselor education and providing hands-on experience. A mixed methods approach combining quantitative and qualitative insights is recommended. Conducting pre and post tests will allow a comparative analysis of attitudes and perceptions, providing more insightful data on the effectiveness and user-friendliness of IIVR as a pedagogical tool. Additionally, future research should extend the use of UTAUT in counselor education by facilitating the fourth predictor variable, facilitating conditions, which measures the organizational support and its impact on their use behavior. An experimental study integrating IIVR and assessing performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and facilitating conditions would provide valuable insights into the relationship between behavioral intention and actual use behavior, further extending UTAUT's applicability within the counseling field. And then future research should develop IIVR-based software for counselor education, focusing on empathy, crisis management, ethical decision-making. Studies should then compare the long-term effects of traditional learning methods versus IIVR-enhanced learning to evaluate the efficacy of technological integration in improving student outcomes. This study explored using IIVR in counselor education through the UTAUT. Significant relationships were found between performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and behavioral intention to use IIVR. Despite limitations like potential sample or technology bias, the study offers practical implications for incorporating IIVR into counseling curriculum. Integrating advanced technologies like IIVR can enhance teaching methods and student learning outcomes. The findings pave way for future research into effective technology integration in counselor education, aiming to maximize benefits and minimize barriers. Embracing these innovations will better equip future counselors for their complex challenges. Again, I thank everyone in attendance for being present with me for this presentation. I will now turn it over to my committee to address any questions or concerns they may have. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for that presentation, Melissa. And yeah, I just want to say just my impressiveness first. Like, I feel like I want to lead off with that. I think your slides, they were beautiful and they were simple. And do not talk about IVR if you don't have beautiful, gorgeous, like fancy slides, right? That look like technology. I mean, so I just think the whole piece was very yeah, it was very captivating for me. So I thank you for that. I also think in your chapter 4 and 5, your presenting of your findings, super clear, the completeness and the clarity. Because when I see like 9 research questions, I'm like, really, Melissa, we don't have to do all that. You're doing too much. And you're like, but I want to do all that. And so I just applaud you for yeah, just the completeness, just how well you wrote those findings, as well as the discernment, and I will say the patience to do it just right. So anyway, it's just such a proud moment, and I just celebrate with you on this. I have a few minor questions, but Dr. Ford, like as I drink my water and collect myself and take a moment with Melissa, what questions do you have?
You might be a little proud. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you
Yeah,
sound great
good.
in your
Okay.
stairwell.
So sorry. And the light keeps turning out, so it looks really dark too. So yes, I will echo all of that. And your data analysis is beautiful for your family that's in the room. Like she knows what she's talking about. That it's just all so beautiful. But so yeah, I'll ask a couple of practical questions just because I love this stuff and I think it's fun. So um one is, no program administration wants to spend money on something for their students and then turn around and have faculty digging in their heels, right? And not wanting to apply it. So obviously this stuff really matters. I'm curious, so now that we've identified some of the barriers, right? Like what we would need to do to really make sure the faculty are on board. I don't know, just a couple of other practical questions that I'm just curious about. Like what is something like this cost? And then specifically, let's just say you had a large online program, right? So what would this look like? Like I'm picturing more like a lab where like residential students would go to a lab and use this kind of equipment. Are there ways to do this in online programs?
Great question. Yes, yes, there is. There was a few questions in there. I want to make sure I address them all. One was the cost. And what I've been looking at, what I found is that the cost is slowly going down. It's becoming more readily available. And what I had considered is maybe including that in the tuition, maybe including that. We pay $100 technology fee, right, for each class. Maybe it comes from that. So that's the first thing you asked. And the second thing is, what does it look like to do it? A lab would be wonderful, but we do have a huge online program, which is great. There are ways to there are ways to have the program online, right? Like in the cloud or whatever. And so if we can create the program, we can have our students access it. We just have to create the program, and we don't have it yet. But yeah, there is ways to have it online so that everybody can access it. I would love to have one day, a virtual classroom where we're all sitting together. We're feeling present together in the class instead of being divided through screens like teams. We could feel close. That's kind of what I've gotten in my head.
Well, you answered my next question. I was going to ask you what program do you recommend, but it sounds like you're going to develop it. I'm thinking.
I would love to. I would love to, yes.
I love that. Well, that is all I have, Dr. Lilly. I will turn it back over to you.
I love how in sync we are, Dr. Ford, because I had that same question. And Melissa and I have even talked about that because you can't be in leadership and not ask about the money, right? It's just the reality of it, and faculty complaining for sure. The other thing I thought about with that, Melissa, I'm just curious, is that of course, I want to know, this is my 2-part question, if anything really surprised you, because when you said 74% wouldn't use it, it kind of hurt my heart a little bit. And I was like, oh, I wonder if any of this research hurt your heart, right? And yeah, and just because they're unfamiliar and they're not going to use it within the next 12 months.
Right. Yeah. I So the question was, what surprised me about what I learned
What
from the data?
surprised you about it? And yeah, and then my follow-up is it realistic to really try to fight, right? And I'm using the word fight loosely, but fighting these beliefs, right? Or challenges.
Okay. So what surprised me is I really expected age and gender to impact this. I
Yes, same.
really expected that. So when that didn't happen, I was very, very surprised. And I think it's great because that just means that there is no age or gender that's going to, we don't have to target this to a certain younger or older generation or whatever. It's really universally accepted, which is exciting. Um, and so I think that's what surprised me. And then in terms of um, I'm just going to generalize it, fighting for the program, right, and having it incorporated and into our current curriculum and everything. I absolutely think it's worth fighting for. I was in a conference just recently presenting, and I got the opportunity to talk to three of the authors that are included in my dissertation that I referenced often. It was like I was having a fangirl moment, but they are now looking at esports, and virtual reality falls under esports, and a lot of universities are starting esports programs and teams. And so, yes, I think that it's evolving. I think that it's right now it's a niche, so it's not as popular and not everybody's talking about it, but that doesn't mean that we don't fight for it. I think that it has a place, and I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah, I agree. And I was thinking, part of that has got to be the point of contact. There's got to be that person at the university, right? Because I know multiple times I have gone to I would say VR trainings and VR workshops, only to find out what the program's $20,000, and then it has to go above, say, the leadership level all the way up. And like you said, being able to include that and kind of count for that. I agree. I also wondered, as you were talking about your variables, I one, I was quite impressed that you had, about 30% male, that it really did kind of encapsulate, what we'd say is professionally, kind of our ratio with that. I thought that was great. So I was like, yay, kudos to you for that. And then the other thing I was thinking though is that, if we're gonna stereotype, which I hate to, but I feel like it's better, Melissa, if I call it, right. If I call it a stereotype, then no, it's not as bad. But I feel like online versus residential. I feel like many, and I can speak for Liberty that our online faculty have had to be more on point with some of the technology pieces than residential, because they get to be a
Mhm.
little bit more old school about stuff. And I wonder about that, because I know the factors that you looked at. I just wonder about that variable, if that would matter. Would online be more apt to, I don't know, maybe jump on that bandwagon or take that risk versus, say, residential?
That's a great point. I had not included that question in the survey. That's a great point, and I think that also speaks to the next step, the mixed method study that I want to do next, where we put the headset in the hands of counselor educators. We let them integrate it. We let them see what they think about it, and that would be a residential program that we would do that with initially, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that wasn't a variable I had considered, but I think that's something that I'll tackle as I continue in research for sure.
No, I think that's great. And it just makes me wonder because of thinking about our faculty. And I know I kind of chuckled, because you're right, your numbers did go up with Liberty faculty because we were
A
struggling to get
lot,
those survey numbers. And I'm like, oh, let me just throw it out to people, right? Because SESNet was not,
right?
yeah, wasn't getting really what you needed. But I do think there is a little more of that flexibility, I find, when we go to launch a program on both ends of it, right? It just seems sometimes yeah, we just have a little more flexibility because we have to in the online world. It's the way our job works. Yeah. Um, I'm so sorry that Dr. Miller couldn't be with us. He has an intensive this week, and so I'm just got fingers crossed that nothing yeah, crazy has kind of gone on with that. Dr. Ford, I think that's all of my questions that I have looking over my list. And do you have any other questions before you and I just slip out for a second?
Nope, I think I'm great.
All right, great. I'm going to, well, first let me unlock the room so Dr. Ford and I can get back in. I got super annoyed hearing the dings, Melissa. I'm like, oh my gosh, Melissa's having to talk and let people in the room. And so I don't even know if you knew that we could do that, Dr. Ford. I found a little space to lock the room. I didn't even know I could do it, but I'm like, note to self, all my students I'm chairing, moving forward, I will unlock rooms and lock rooms. But yeah, let me unlock it. So then we're going to slip out and then we'll be right back. So for those that are in the room, not part of the committee, you are welcome to chat with Melissa, and then we'll be right back. So I'll call you, Dr. Ford, in another meeting. Okay.
Hi,
You did it.
everybody.
Exciting.
Hi, guys. Oh, thank you all for being here. Oh, it's over.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome job, Melissa.
Thank you. Thank you.
So good.
Yes, they were so impressed. It was so cool to see that. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Mary. Everybody, that was my supervisor.
Of
She's
course.
my world. She made me who I am.
Oh,
I
she's so
talk about her
sweet.
often in class. Yeah.
Oh, you're a joy and you know it. I'm so happy for
They
you.
know you, Mary. They know you. I've talked about you often.
Oh, sweet, sweet. Thanks.
I only
Oh, that-
cried through the first part of it. You can ask Nick. I sent him a picture.
Oh,
Like the prayers, I was like, keep it together. You can do this.
yeah. And then you sounds like you have a sore throat on top of it.
Nervous.
Oh, nervous.
Nerves.
Okay.
Yes. Oh,
You couldn't really tell you were nervous.
oh, thank you.
I like it. You
Oh.
spoke slowly and comfortably. You didn't rush through it. That was great. We could
Yes.
hear every word.
Oh, good. Good. Did I freeze at all? My screen freeze at all?
Nope. Nope.
Yay.
Perfect.
Good.
You did so good.
Did you make
that
You're
spiritual
such a
warfare?
techie anyway. You're such a
Did you make all the kids log off of work or your network at home?
I don't know what Nick did. I just locked myself in here.
Do you want to get a picture, Melissa? Do you want to, if
Yes.
everyone is comfortable, do you mind everyone just holding a smile and I'll take some screen grabs?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, he fixed his hair.
Didn't expect to be on camera.
Girl, you stay ready, Melissa. You're fine. All right. I'm going to do a couple, so just hold your smile like you're frozen.
Frozen.
All right. 1, 2, 3. And I'm doing the second page of people because she's got an entourage. All right.
Family.
Everyone smile again. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hmm.
All right.
Goodness, I'm just looking around like all my family, all my friends. I just feel so
cool.
blessed. So
So
blessed.
cool.
Thank you.
It's so cool it can do this. And thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Ford froze on me, but I really think she's coming back because I do think, oh, good, there's Dr. Ford. I was like, oh, you froze that stairwell. Oh, I gotcha. So I am also really blessed to see all of you guys. I think it's wonderful support for Melissa because it's just such an exciting time. And I'm so glad to kind of be here and be part of it. And so I've even lost Melissa on my screen. Why don't I see?
There she is. There she is.
Oh, is she still here? I'm like,
I'm
why
here.
don't?
I'm here.
Oh, maybe because I don't even know. So my teams, just so people know, it's demonically possessed, and so sometimes people just go off the screen. I don't even know why. Okay, but Melissa, I get the pleasure of saying congratulations, Dr. Smith. We are super proud of you for all of your efforts and hard work. And a couple things is that I will email you next steps because I'd love to say it's over, but y'all that have been here, you know it's really not over. So I'm going to email you next steps. Don't worry, we got this. It's just a couple other little loose ends we're going to tie up, and I'll take care of that for you, Dr. Smith, and making sure that's great. And you do realize no one reads a dissertation. Nobody. I mean, maybe your mother. My mother has a copy, but I'm telling you, she never read mine. And so nobody reads it, Dr. Smith. So we're going to work on articles, right? I'll give you a couple weeks, but myself, Dr. Ford, Dr. Miller, I would be a horrible chair if I did not prompt you to get the articles out there, because that's what people are going to read, right? They're going to read the articles. That's how we're going to make an impact and a difference. And of course, now that we've talked about online versus residential, we'll just have to add that little piece, kind of in the limitations as well, right? So we got just a small little edit. Other than that, I know your other committee members had provided feedback that you've already incorporated. So anyway, I celebrate with you and say congratulations, Dr. Smith, and I will be in touch and give you just a little bit of a break, right? Now that you have this space, and I hope you get to celebrate with your family and that you're going to do just wonderful things, right? That's what this is all about, taking some of that break that you so well have deserved and needed that you haven't had up until now. So anyway, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll show everybody my beautiful shirt that I've made that I'm going to put on right now. So thank you. Thank you to everyone. I love and value all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Smith. And I'm just so thrilled to call you colleague. So it's just really exciting.
Yes.
So
thank you. It's an honor. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, I will give you some space with your people and your friends, and I'll stop the recording, and then you can hang with them for a minute, whatever you want. But I do thank all of you guys for coming and support and just your love in being here.